Welcome to Gestalt Poetry Open Mic for October. Thank you all so much for being here. We are blessed to have each other in this space. Our featured poet today is Christine Dickinson. She will do her set of poetry in the middle of the open mic. First off, to stay tuned to Gestalt, please visit amyhoskins.com/writing. I'm excited to let you know our featured poets for 2024 will be back at Gestalt in January with Lantern Carrier, and I posted that in the chat. Very excited about that. And I want to start off today with a bit of inspiration from Octavia Paz. I think from a couple of sessions back, I said how obsessed I am with him right now. But this is from a very long poem called Mutra, and I just want to do a little to give you a taste of it. Read it from the book, so that might be challenging. Okay. Take hold of the ancient image, anchor existence, and plant it in the stone base of the lightning. There are stones that never give way, stones made of time, time made of stone, centuries that are columns, assemblies singing hymns of stone, fountains of jade, obsidian gardens, towers of marble, tall beauty armed against time. One day my hand brushed against all that constructed glory, but stones also lose their footing. Stones too are images, and they fall and they scatter and mix and flow with the unceasing river. The stones too are the river. Where is the man who gives life to the stones of the dead? The man who makes the stones and the dead speak. Foundations of stone and of music, the factory of mirrors and speech, and poetry's castle of fire, entwine their roots in his chest, rest in his head, his own hand sustains them. Under the breastplate of rock crystal, I searched for the man, groped for the imperceptible opening. We are born, and the tear is no more than a scratch, and it never scars over, and it burns, and it is a star giving off its own light. The little wound never fades. The sign of the blood is never erased. Through that door we go into the dark. Man also flows, man also falls, and is an image that vanishes. So you can see why I like him. Okay, thank you. I'm so excited with him. Okay. If you'd like to perform, please send me a direct message in the chat. I think I've got everyone. And I've put the fellow poets in the chat as well. And first off, we have Laura Grevel.
Thank you very much, Amy.
You're welcome.
I look forward greatly to Christine's work, and I picked two pieces that could fit in perhaps with her work. The first piece was inspired by the life of my great-grandmother, and it's called The Silk Parasol. No one knows who left it. Green and cream-colored, embroidered with dragons, in the room that became secret at Ie's. No one knows who left it in that dusty town bracket that the train passed by. Now's Drugs, Swenson's Dry Goods, the two-room sod house that grew 12 children, the Black Seminole Church, the corner building where the working girls called from the balcony. No one knows who left it. Ie couldn't remember. Remembered parents dead, a little girl raised in a tent on the San Antonio River. At 4'11", harnessed the horse and wagon, drove to town, aimed her rifle at those men. You sons of bitches, leave my brother alone. No one knows who left it. Ie couldn't remember. Hey, lover, she'd say, what can I fix you to eat? Worked all her life as a cook, waist-length hair up in a bun, Now she lies asleep with a doll, long gray hair down, one room filled with old stuff piled high. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to get rid of this. Okay, and the second piece I was going to read is called, and it's inspired by my grandmother, the daughter of Ike, whose name was really Laura Lee, but a child said Ike because that's how it sounded. So, Layers of the Dead. 3 funerals this week? That's sad, I said. My grandmother shakes her head. We could go to 3 or 4 every week. It's good we know younger people, or we would soon have no friends at all. She stands in a room strewn. Stacks of magazines snicker under the couch, on the chairs, in the paths. Wall shelves bristle with books, arrowheads, fossils, and feathers. Newspapers mushroom from the floor in stalagmite towers. Picking up a clipping opens treasure. Collectible blue willow dishes. Peach cobbler recipe by the Brazos County agent. Indians on the Palo Duro Canyon. The canyons stretch on, layers of pink and yellow and gray. The wind blows a rocky tune. A lizard crawls by, blinks. I watch for snakes. Thank you. That was from the Craine Chronicles, which is a book with 2 friends. Sorry, we put out in 2022. I can't get it to show with this thing. But anyway, thank you so much, Amy, and I'm looking forward to Christine and everyone's work. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, such amazing detail. Please unmute if you'd like to say more things. That was so nice. I just beautifully painted. And I wonder, are you also a painter?
Pardon? My mother was a
painter.
My mother was a painter. I've drawn some, but I would actually like to, Claire did this, which is a lovely, sorry, I can't. I've given a copy to Chris, so she has it. But it's a lovely thing that Claire Stewart and Sue Allen were with me on that book. So yes, thank you so much.
So well done. Thank you. So beautiful.
Yeah.
And next we have Alexandra Psaropoulous.
Line 15. Keep up with that turquoise lover, so full of love and kindness. Before doubt compromises every fleshed out interaction, keeping viable honey-sweetened utopias, sinking in a black swamp of remorse, leeches of greed sucking on lust and shame, enduring through our biggest mistakes, emerging into our new biggest improvements, into new consummations of refined affection, earth blooming with polychroming, cultivating virtues, olive branch rights turquoising all plentiful harvests. Keep up with that cleansing so salving for each wound, before passing fests every vital feeling and thought, keeping soft every hardened organ, our hearts tormented by dark red memories, collapsing at the gates of our own perdition, crawling through our narrow, bloodied trenches, discovering new veins of replenishment, new streams of purification, untainted rivers gushing ahead boundlessly, blue-crested sky showers cleansing all defilement. Keep up with that life so deeply longed for, before it kneels at the precipice of its own abyss, keeping zoetic every favourable breeze, burning in the eternal chaos of our own unquenchable inferno, aspirations melting, courage faltering, glowing through our own embers, bursting into new, cleaner flames of rejuvenation, singing new songs continuing beyond mortal existence. Clear, transcendent winds blowing reinforcingly to the ends of the vast earth. Mastery of life surpassing all adversities. Keep up with that oracle so devotedly worshipped, before it fades at the end of the nebulous sky, keeping alight the torch of insight. Our philosophy is crucified by false innocence, hiding behind false gods, thrusting through ugly, thorny dogmas, taming new wild wisdoms, new unchained channels of magnificent revelations, lightning-eyed eagles ceaselessly circling, oracles' rays resurrecting all spiritual forces. Hurry, keep up with those flights, so brave and so free, before they explode in the anguish of the universe, keeping high the grace of this sky blue sphere.
Wow. I was just writing, you eliminate the way through, literally, with your artwork, with your words. It's magic. It's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Seriously, so good. Goodness. Now it's Richard Harry's here. He wasn't feeling well. Okay. Eike Waltz.
Good afternoon.
Good
The
afternoon.
Gaelic and the Romans, even the aliens, talked to me before dying. Halloweeni, sa win, Dulcia aut dolum. Let me engulf you, my Gaelic sa win, my Latin Dulcia aut dolum. Hush, who's there? Trick or treat, I am dying, be aware. Hush, who is there? Is it raining 1,000 tears and many more? Hush, who is there? Who is crying that angels choir? Say no more, so beautiful anymore. Hush, who is there? A million snowflakes in glistening white, so icy cold, sticking to places everywhere. Hush, which god has the better gun? Who is killing Mother Earth, you and me, even everyone? Hush, mortus viventi, mortus, 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 renaissancia, just the same. Exemplus Lucentius game, mon Dieu, murder, the perpetuum of affinity. Missa mirabile victu. Something so amazing to say. Hush, petit mort. And if you are beautiful, you dance, but only for the ones who are as lucky as me. Hush, who is there? Vita nova, vita nova. Who is there? Innovatio, ratio, ex nihilo, ratio, vita aeternum, ma memento, memori. The day I see myself sitting on the end of once my delirium in bed, and I think that valus mortus meus est. I remember from school that had left vengeance amidst bloodshot eyes closed, the stench of war history expressed, a score like never before. Once we burned life in musgraves with a rusty shovel, but now, according to the rules of war, according to the law of war, by AI does it matter, and trenches are deeper than ever before. But what will I do without you? So I wait, I put on my mask with one dislocated eye, and I trick you, and I treat you with my kiss and my deep sigh. I'm finally dead, dead, dead. You see, it's me, dead. Hush, it still speaks, that mask of once. Once upon a time. Hush, I lit the darkness with a dream. I can't remember the body in the coffin, the ashes in the man-made urn, the message I carry from so much love and little green fish. Greetings from that miserable goes without yester saying, that macabre kind men, dulcia aut dolum, that trick or treat of mankind, that laughable conspiracy, so deadly indeed. Thank you.
That was so complex, and I love the way you played with the different languages and floated, and that was amazing. Thank you so much. Just, I'm almost speechless. Thank you so much. Now we have Stacy, Ardis, Dyson.
Okay. Can y'all hear me all right?
Mm-hmm.
So one quick one and one brand new one that I wrote last night. In honor of Halloween. Sort of. Do not let the aliens come disguised as Black women. Because if TV is all they've studied, then they'll be dragging fake nails, fake hair, and loud yes, queens, interruptions in normal or polite conversations, or just be loud and ignorant for no good reason. If we need to be that way, we always have a good reason. They will say they've studied history and x-rays, so they know what we're composed of, but you can't x-ray pain or burden. There is not enough history to tell the truth of how we're daily betrayed by a country we helped build, still maintain, and are tasked with saving. X-rays can't depth hearts or imagine hearts and minds that exist quietly, constantly, simultaneously on ice and in fire on the regular. Don't let them come in as Black women. They won't know where the finger snaps go right, where the laughing and heartache go right, where the laughs fit right, where the burden of learning to be, to know, to take care of go right. Let them come back as something innocent or innocuous. We are neither of those. Let them come back non-threat and unprepared. We are neither of those. Let them come ready to marvel and want to be and fear not just a little, the only folks on the planet who truly understand what surviving on this planet really means. And then one new one. Mi padre named me Rosa. He said it was so I would always be reminded of pretty things, flowers and light and love, that it's very hard to do in this border camp where everything is despair and lost hope. Harsh light and broken families. Yo no soy una flor. Yo soy una niña. If I were a flower, I could ride in the band of my father's hat, the only one he ever owned. The brim was cracked with ragged edge, but the headband was strong, tempered with sun and sweat from the labors that made the money to bring us across. I wonder if he still has the hat, or if somebody took it away from him, threw it away, the way they took his daughter and threw her away. I remember when I was young, my mommy bending in to kiss my puppy, welcome home. I stood between, one hand wrapped around my mother's knee, one around my father's, a rose growing strong and vibrant in the fragrance of their love for each other. I cannot feel that sun now, just the lights that shine constantly overhead. If I were a flower, I would be in his pocket, fragrant and close to his heartbeat, close to where he kept the money to make the coyotes not look at me and say evil things, lick their lips and say evil things. I don't have much English, but I know what they said was wrong. Made my father hold my hand tighter than he ever did when we walked at home. Hold me closer, shielding me when they passed by to count how many souls they planned to release into the desert or deserted alleyways or dark, cold stretches of strange highways, to pay them not to look at me like the guard here looks at me. That guard, he looks at me the way I remember the bad, drunken men looking at the bodies of the women in the street, the soldiers looking at the bodies of women in the street. He looks at me that way. The older women, they tell me stay away from him, pull me into chores or conversation when he is near, try and hide me away from his glances. But when he sees me in the halls or my room or on the playing field, he watches me. He looks at me like the soldiers, like the drunks and bad men watch the bodies of women in the street once. He ran his hand over my hair and smiled and said, "Hey, linda chica, you're a pretty thing, aren't you?" The older women surrounded me, pulled me away, but they cannot always be close, and I am afraid because sometimes he comes for the older girls, and they come back very quiet and very sad, and I can feel their fears. Sometimes they cry out when they sleep. They run and pull me away too. Sometimes they lie down by my bed, but they do not sleep then. Their eyes are open to watch for me, to protect me, but they cannot stay awake forever. Poppy, he used to take me to count the stars, watch the cool earth with the moon singing to me so that I would learn not to be afraid of the night. I am always afraid now. Roses stand strong against the wind. Call the rain, sister, breathe free air. Yo no soy una flor. I am a little girl. Mi madre es muerta. Mi padre is out in the world without me. One day, when a mariposa landed on the windows, a rose can talk to a butterfly, right? I asked her to please find my father so he could take me to where I could find rest, breathe, free air, feel the night, sing gentle with the moon. Sometimes I do not think I have another season. I may never see mi papi again. The butterfly may never deliver my message. Why should she? Butterflies only talk to flowers. And I am not a flower. I am just a little girl. Yo no soy una flor. I am not a flower. Yo soy una niña. I am just a little girl. I am just a little girl.
Oh gosh, so moving, so powerful, and horrifying, and redeeming in the relationship of the daughter and the father. So clearly and well told. Just beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Now we have Lucia Daramus.
Yes,
Welcome.
thank you. Thank you, Amy.
Crying by Lucia Daramus. To be an elder in Romania, part of Europe, does mean to suffer, like Iov above his lost house and family, country, identity. Yes, to be an elder, you lose your identity, poverty on our skin, and empty hole of our stomach, deprived by clothes, nakedness of our body in the literary way, naked with our private sex in the cold air, abandoned by society. We are elders in Romania. We are pensioners, paying our life income to the elder's house, but we have nothing, no name, only nobody. The Homer story is stroken in our minds. We are begging in naked style, with our white pubes hair in the front of the closed gates of the elder's house. We have no food, nothingness is dancing in our room. No food, we have no clothes, nakedness is whirling around our teeth. No clothes, we have no heat on our skin with minus 40 degrees in winter. We beg crying, lamenting, shouting, yelling, snatching out our head hair, begging for food from our neighbors around the streets. To be an elder is to be beaten by carers, no medication, no health treatment, only beating, biting, snatching from our bodies with bruises like rotten flowers in a late autumn. Beaten by carers, being elders in Romania, part of Europe. 2023, May, a beautiful May, with blooming flying dandelions, and my old hands with thousands of worked wrinkles asking people about a bit of bread. Hungry in our old elder stomach, Romanian stomachs. We are tied by our beds, now in 2023 in Europe. Nobody can say something because the owner's wife of our elder house is a Romanian policewoman, a very corrupted society, Romanian society. Far away is beautiful Budapest with Franz Liszt's memories, and over this elegant city of Hungary is Vienna, with wealth and poetry and kind, intelligent people's brains and souls and pretty hearts. They know nothing about elders in Romania. Elders as beggars who are beaten. The happiness of our next day is a thought about death. We pray to die, death as a rays sun caressing our hearts. From our naked bodies are eating the worms with monster tongues. We are alive deaths. with worms, and far away in Budapest, Vienna, Brussels, poetry is flourishing in bright and vibrant minds. But we are in Romania, part of Europe. Romania with deprivation, corruption, and stolen dignity. To be a human in humanity is to be an open conscience in action. We have freedom of our minds to create who we are, but what are we in terms of dignity, in terms of beauty, in terms of humanity? We are forced to work to dig the earth. If not, the punishment is in our eyes front. The traces of communism from the past paint our present. Corruption, abandon, destitution, stolen dignity, punishment, bribery are modeling our society, Romanian society. To be an elder in this country does mean to suffer like Job begging in front of a possible God. Can be a human under this sky, can be under Romanian sky. I love Europe, but people of it know nothing about Romanian sky. Frail geometry in elders' hearts, in elders' minds. Frail geometry.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that story to the present and to our awareness. That's just so horrible. She really told the story so well, and I appreciate that. Thank you for being here. You're welcome. Thank you. Is Doc Channing here? I don't see him. All right. That brings us to our feature poet, Christine Dickinson.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like me to introduce you?
Oh, as you will.
Okay, I will. All right. Chris Dickinson, retired teacher, novice grandmother, and proud member of the women's poetry group Tesoro, lives with her husband in Lincolnshire, UK. Reading is her favorite activity for relaxation, escapism, and to learn more about how others live their lives. Writing is a recurring itch. For decades, she wrote secretively, but nowadays she thinks, if not now, when? And started reading her words at Spalding Red Wine Writers Group and the local folk club. Zoom has taken her much further afield, and the wonderful poets she has met have been a revelation and a constant source of encouragement. She is active on the open mic, evoking the day-to-day details that throw light on our human experience. Passionate about justice and equality, she begins most days with a rant whilst looking at the morning paper. After this, she is calm enough to face the day. Her poetry was first published in Spokes in 1993, most recently in The North, and she has contributed with over 70 other poets over 70 years old to Finn Hall's anthology, I Ache in Places I Used to Play. And I'm going to put her link in the chat to her social media if I can grab this. Welcome so much, Christine Dickinson. Thank you.
Will you share my fears and be close by my side? Will you cry my tears and have no thought of pride? We fear each new war and men and women's rage, which children learn so well and pass to each new age. We cry for all those who are denied a home, and for the millions we leave to cry alone. We have travelled far to draw each other near, and it's this wise old love helps us through each new year. Will you share my fears and be close by my side? Will you cry my tears and have no thought of pride? We fear our leaders' power until they learn to care and give more than they take, so all worlds have their share. We cry for prisoners until they hear the sound, echoing east and west, the whole world around. We fear the changing sky, the sun which spares no shade. We fear the poisoned earth and sea which man has made. We cry for living things who know their time has come, and we cry for ourselves who let man's will be done. We have travelled far to draw each other near, and it's this wise old love helps us through each new year. Will you share my fears and be close by my side? Will you cry my tears and have no thought of pride? We know we do not cry to blind ourselves to tears. We know we do not cry to deafen ears which hear. When we shed our tears, our hopes are joined together. Our fears will give us strength to fight forever. We have travelled far to draw each other near, and it's this wise old love helps us through each new year. Thank you. I really wanted to read that. I particularly wanted to read that because of what we've heard now, such powerful stuff. And now moving on, post-war boom. My parents went straight into the Second World War, straight from school. And we were the lucky ones, my sister and I, we were the baby boomers, hard to believe now. Our parents demobbed into Civvy Street, hearts set on home, children, a future. They set to, got the country on its feet, picked up the pieces, lives fell into place, war tales faded like a lover's letter, medals in boxes took up little space. Our school days were a military parade. We marched arms to the British Grenadiers, chanted to the charge of the Light Brigade, learned to fight our own battles, toe the line. The parables were easier on the ear. I had them off by heart. Left war behind. We shivered in school halls, watched the swing of the cane on the boys the head called pets. Took a deep breath at the command to sing, fight the good fight. We rose to be that band of hope, the baby boomers, skinny chests thrust out, standing tall, our fate in safe hands. I worried about sin when I was 5. Rules spelled in black and white were a relief. No room for loose cannons. I felt alive, reciting the Lord's Prayer, pressing palms for Jesus and world peace, grasping the belief he would suffer children, keep us from harm. In class, we hid our thoughts, kept our hands down. We were nosy Parkers, minding our own business, finding skeletons in cupboards, brown snapshots of bones, ovens with skulls, a hill of ash, Dad's photos, truths he'd known too young, men's loss of heart, the ways we kill. Events put out of mind break through the skin. My mother cooking a flight team's last meal, the friend who lost her sweetheart, the cousin gone for a Burton, stuck in a duff plane. And we pick up new wars, hope old scars will heal, learn our parents' stories, live them again. Thank you. Tough times, you know, but my mum she was always really positive about it, you know. They thought they were fighting for a good cause, and we really don't know. This is about my mother, and it's also a knitting poem. So, you know, if you don't like craft work, you know, go for a cup of tea. Mother would unstick each finger knot, the click, click of knitting needles. She could no longer slip through loops to tug a stitch for pearl or plain. Lips clamped. She cast on and off, a glove spouting digits, an arm dangling from palms, pocket slits in cardigans, V-necks, button slots, ribbed pullovers in eye-tone black. Perfectly good patterns frayed at the seams, split the smiles of families displayed in wool. The layouts took pride of place. Buttermilk lace in 2-ply, fit for the boy. Words like Fair Isle, fully fashioned raglan sleeve belong to the past. Socks we don't darn, in a weave stretched smooth over the wood of the mushroom. Mother sewed as easily as turning a heel. Dismiss the hurt of bones grating, gnarled knuckles, a cave in the joint where the thumb joins the hand. She plucked skin, a slat lid enunciated carpo metacarpal with pride, declaring, my grip wore out. When I grew steady on my own 2 feet, I'd hold both arms up to our mother's chair, keep them level to accept the weight of a skein hanging limp from my wrists. I danced to her moves, angle my spine to mimic the rhythm of winding hands, watch for that tangle in her brow, sense that tension, the thread between us. Tick, tick. A mother leaves her daughters, holding the strands, spinning new yarns. Round and round they go, coiling fingers, curling hair, a family quirk, twisting a cord. Here. You know, we do that in my family, and we go around with this great tufts of it. And I've tried to stop myself doing it. And then I saw that my youngest grandson, he's got tiny bits of hair down here. It was curling it. It's bizarre, isn't it? So this is me reflecting, really. Amy referred to this, how I start the morning, thinking back. Remember Johnish. I wake each day alert to my luck, warmed in the tuck of the duvet, newspaper and teapot to hand. Brace myself for the scandals, the latest scans, leaders passing the buck and playing their shameless games of shuttlecock. Home news depresses, world talk tumbles my thinking, our native injustices, the fate of local peoples in Canada, their children banished to boarding schools, Johnish, age 5, buried far from his home. He has company, though he died alone, his family not warned in time. I blame arrogance for pain lingering from the past, such lasting shame. We must persist, broadcast our human story, cherish the lost names. I'm greyed out, railing at lack of progress, taint of wealth, our nation's misgovernment, my guilt in dependence on comfort. We had the fortune to anticipate a good deal from this new millennium. Foolish of cultural heritage, first in Birmingham, then Tottenham, easy with church maxims, the school's set texts, was I lax to teach the lessons I knew, the white man's viewpoint from white men's texts? I learned to question regimented lines, diets of British males commanding rhymes, the 20th century's greatest poets. I handwrote stencils, boisterous verse, ink-smudged sheets rolled off a bander machine. I was paid on the nail. Work was full on. War did not disrupt routines. Consistent battles were mainly adolescent. We gave our children more than we had, sent them innocent into volatile worlds. I watched the sun flare behind the church steeple, the flowers growing, blossoming with bees, chirping from the yew. Our tribe of sparrows gather at dusk, swoop to feed from local seed. Winter calls us to meet the needs in reach. Thank you. Yeah. Now, unbelievably, because I've been excited about this for months, you know. I'm on my last poem, but I would like to say that thank you, Amy, so much for inviting me, and thank you, all the wonderful poets that are here, and for friends and family that I have too. It's great. So this is a new poem. I've been very unprolific this year, so I'm pleased with this, and it brings us up to date pretty much. There was always a swing, feet to the clouds, a free dance for my skirt, air, parting hair, a chance to blunt the cut and thrust of crowds, let go the hurt from home, echoes of no. Old Navy man in gumboots and battered hat, grandad tests his weight, bounces on the planky plane smooth to the skin, to and fro, the flow of his arms, flying a dragon tattoo. This sailor prized his knots, splicing the rope, arcing his throw to loop the apple bough, assessing our height, the pulse of the tree, the trust of our palms in the vice of his fist. My sister showed me where to stand, lean back, prop the swing seat vertically behind, kick off, spring, legs skyward, leap aboard, drop with cut knees, eyes down, dipping the spine. I swoop out, roll in, flying a curve, sing under the shelter of arms, out of harm's way. Just one time, slipping, I let go my grip, broke my fall in a clump of nettle stings. And now, pushing a chubby-legged grandson, big boy, in the cage of a baby chair, he laughs into the rush of air, cries for more, to and fro, high and low, feet to the sky. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, thank you. What a wonderful storyteller you are. What a wonderful poet you are. Thank you so much.
Thank
Would
you,
people
Amy.
unmute and say more? If you want to unmute and say more.
Lovely, Chris. Lovely.
Brilliant, Christy. Wow.
Wonderful note. Beautiful.
Stunning.
Thank you.
Fantastic,
Wonderful.
Tesoro.
Chris,
Wonderful.
I was at your very first Zoom, as you know, and it's amazing to see how much you really just take your time with it and just let us hear you. It's amazing to see how much your performance has developed as well, and your confidence. It's just gorgeous. More please, more
Wow.
please.
Well, I've been watching you.
No, goodness.
I've been watching the experts, believe me.
Just do you, just never change, and just do you, never copy anyone else. That was just gorgeous. Beautiful.
Lovely set. Right. Really enjoyed that, Chris.
Oh my gosh.
Now, swiftly moving on.
You have such a gentle observation of life, Chris. It's beautiful. I'm just totally absorbed by the words, the way you perform it. So something really unique you've got. Thank you for sharing it.
Thank you. All right, deep breath. Lesley Constable.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to read this one. Thank you, Chris. It was so wonderful to see you again and hear you again. I'm just so moved. Thank you. Beautiful. Okay. I'm going to read this one. It's called Deep Bow. It is not possible to bow enough to the grace of existence. The back bows under the weight, the resignation that, yes, with that which we sometimes carry, the weight of our lives and each burden along the way, it could break this back. As sometimes it feels, as sometimes you cry out in this exquisite pain for how tender, heavy, and torn is this back. The muscles strained, the ligaments torn, how weary are the bones that hold it up, this back, which holds you up, for it is so heavy, the weight on this back that cries out for succor. Socorro, it cries and cries out to the heavens, cries out to the gods, to the heavens for support, but they are not there, these gods, not in the clouds, and do not hear you, not up above or haloed, not dancing with the angels, these gods of your back who guard it, but below in the earth, deep there in the earth, planted and growing and alive and still, as they always were, as they always have been and will be, these gods like the bones of our dead and the trees, the silt, the blood, the hair as it washes down from the rain, the roots which go down and run deep underground, the bones of our gods, not the gods of others who we don't know, but ours, our gods, roots which lace and intertwine with the soil and hold us up. And it is there, this response now to our cries, which we hear, which comes up to us from below. It has been there all this while and waiting for us, a song, a sigh, a mere whisper, light and straight as the willow branch, and as lithe, moving and bending with each breath of breeze, the wind strong at our backs, or calm as a whisper, unfurled as branches to the sky, and light now, and with no pain we straighten, and we know this. This is what we know. The back supported is the back that will bow under the weight. Yes, but it is the back which then is able to bow even more deeply to life. That's all for me. Thanks.
What a beautiful journey and deep. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Lesley. Now we have, is Martine here?
He's not going to be reading tonight.
Oh, okay. I was looking forward to that, but we'll see him another time. Clive Oseman.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm going to do a couple of slightly lesser often performed poems. And then if I've got time at the end, I want to fit in something a bit mad, which is a bit short. So I'm going to start with a poem that was written for a prompt of what to do with lemons. I mean, Ian might remember that prompt because it was between the lines of a few months ago. And so this is what I came up with, and it's my usual nonsense. So apologies for that. What do you do with lemons? As I don't like lemons, and citrus fruits trigger one of my conditions, my first thought was probably not something you could televise. It's nothing personal. I'm sure there are some nice lemons out there, and we shouldn't generalise, but I've never met a nice one. Call me lemonist if you want to. I may start a lemonist movement. But if I had to do something with a lemon, with it being, well, it's not now, obviously, but when I wrote this, with it being Valentine's Day, I may pretend it is my partner and take it for a romantic meal. That may sound odd for a lemonist, but surely it couldn't be as sour as my ex, and it's better than nothing. It may even send me a card. I could possibly get the DVD of 12 Angry Men so that he could proudly watch its Uncle Jack. I don't think that's a romantic movie, but I could stop pretending once we'd left the restaurant. If it continued to invade my space, I would disguise it as a soccer referee, get it some big games and blackmail it into giving the right decisions. No one would ever realise it was a lemon. They would just think it had jaundice. The last lemon I got involved with suddenly declared it was actually an elf in disguise. I felt betrayed. It affected me so badly, I went to see a psychiatrist. I was totally triggered when her first words were citrus elf down. But I think the best thing to do with a lemon is treat it as an anagram of the much more agreeable melon. Put up a tent in a field and sing Jack and Diane as a duet. People call that melon camping. Anyway, I'll leave it there. I'll be back in a jiffy. So that's that one. The next one is a couple of you will have heard this. Like everybody's shaking their heads, thinking, "What is he on?" Right. The next one is a couple of you will have heard this recently, but I know there's some people here who wouldn't have done. And this is I took a brief history of the 20th century, mainly from a British viewpoint, I must admit, and I replaced the actual characters with either cartoon characters or kids characters or fictional characters, or even something I've made up myself, just to slightly change the narrative a little bit. So this is a brief history of the 20th century from a mainly British viewpoint. The 20th century started badly for Vicky Pollard, who croaked it after 64 years on the throne, allowing Edward Scissorhands to become king. He was blunted 9 years later and succeeded by Curious George. George's reign had its moments. 2 years in, Captain Pugwash drove the Titanic into an iceberg, which was a bit careless. And the following year, Emily Quackfaster interfered with his horse. In 1914, World War I kicked off, following the assassination of Fred Flintstone, and things got a bit messy. Nothing much happened in Britain in the 1920s, other than Yogi Bear inventing television. But in Chicago, Larry the Cucumber was being a bit of a shit, until he was banged up for the tax evasion in 1931. A lesson for Mrs. Sunak, maybe. The 30s sort of came and went until Humpty Dumpty declared war on Germany after SpongeBob SquarePants invaded Poland. Thankfully, it didn't go to penalties. After the war, things got a bit boring, but 1949 was a swine, with Fozzie Bear becoming the big cheese in China and Dick Dastardly becoming the firstborn of the future Queen of England, Queen Leah. Dick went on to have an ill-fated marriage, which resulted in him accepting Ron Weasley into the family. But he eventually found happiness with Champion the Wonder Horse. The 50s pretty much disappeared down the toilet, but in the 60s, along came the Beatles to cheer us up, with Thomas the Tank Engine on drums. The highlight of the 1970s, other than the Winter of Discontent, was probably Inspector Clouseau joining the West Midlands Serious Crime Squad. That's how shit the 1970s were. But then Marge Simpson fucked it all up by becoming Prime Minister in 1979. The 1980s were a desolate wasteland of hopelessness and despair thanks to Marge, but the 90s saw the emergence of the Spice Girls, Hilda Ogden, Ina Sharples, Nora Batty and Moaning Myrtle, and a Beatles tribute band called Oasis, led by Beavis and Butthead. Lord Voldemort led New Labour to power in the 1997 election. The end of a lot of things, but not war crimes or rampant capitalism, obviously. And if I've got time for one little, my latest hobby, as some of you will know, is sending crazy reviews to Amazon. And they actually get published. They're actually online. And I'll try to make them as crazy as I possibly can to see how far I can go with them. And so far, I got 100% strike rate. So I sent this one yesterday. So obviously, it's still under review at the moment. So I reviewed a roll of sellotape, and the comment, the title for the review was "Legendary Sellotape." This is a quite wonderful sellotape of the kind you used to get in the good old days when pints were pints, gallons were gallons, and sellotape was sticky. My friend recommended this when I had a bad experience with a cheaper brand, and I will be forever grateful to them for keeping the faith. I have taken a keen interest in sellotape for many years because, as a schoolboy cricketer, a seam bowler, I was given the nickname sellotape after a particularly frustrating day when I bowled really well but couldn't find the edge, and it stuck for all those years. I was beginning to despair at the state of the sellotape industry until I found this. My brother has a very valuable collection of stamps, and I did him a favour when he was at work, sellotaping them all in place in an album. He was furious. He's a bit of a control freak, and I think he got angry that I touched his beloved sixpenny buff. But he will thank me when he sees how long it lasts. Whoops, hang on a minute. He will thank me when he sees how long it lasts. But that is not the most amazing thing. In his anger, he yelled, "I'll show you how to use sellotape," dangled me head first out of an 8th floor window, and sellotaped me to the ledge for 3 hours. This sellotape literally saved my life. It is that good. Thank you. And I'll see if that one gets on. And then if that one does, I'll have to find something even more crazy next time.
It was so good. Thank you so much for
thank
always
you.
making us laugh.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you. Okay. Now we have Kate Jenkinson.
How do I follow that, Clive?
No one wants to follow Clive.
An anagram of your name, Clive, I don't know if you know, is a lemon's vice. So interesting, that coincidence.
It's also Evil C for my first name. I don't know what the C stands for, but it's I'm an Evil C apparently.
Ashley's got an idea about that. Anyway, I'm going to do 3 poems. 2 of them are mine, and one of them is from a book that I'm reading at the moment, and it's called, the one that I'll read at the end is called An Ode to a Counsellor. And so I've chosen 2 of my poems that go sort of in line with that. And the first one is called Soil. The coach said, "Everything that grows starts in the dark." My blackboard mind needed these words to drown out the chalked experiences screeching their groundhog reality on repeat. Repeat. I need to know darkness is not the end. It incubates a new beginning. I will emerge when nourished. Knowing that fertile soil is the blackest helps. And my lack of vision heralds the clapperboard as I start a new verse in the epic poem of my hilly life. I am not bogged down anymore by responsibility. This deep crevice is my home. The next one's called The Counsellor and the Coach. We put our ears and hearts to work. Our hands held your dreams. We hear and balance the weight of emotion in every word you say. We hear the ones you repeat, the hurt, hurt, hurt. We notice the needs you don't speak, love, love, love. I hold the hurt words with love in my voice. Through my words you are finally seen. Your words have been held in my heart, and you accept your soul's yearning with homecoming, welcoming arms that squeeze the tears from your eyes. And I hope you can see why I chose those two, because this is called Ode to a Counsellor. Have you the time to share my pain, a little of the agony? Bereft, defenceless, worn with care, I sit before you, soul laid bare, and beg you, make me whole again. Don't turn, don't spurn me, spend a while and listen to my tortuous grief. I need acceptance and relief from thoughts that weigh so heavily. The care you give me now can call me back from black despair and death. Don't underestimate your power to change my life and keep me safe. Befriend me, defend me, help me cope, though time you may not want to give. This hour I could discover hope and strength to find the will to live. In saving me, you save yourself. Who knows when roles reverse, you may need me to comfort and support you, push the doubts and fears away. So spend a while and hear me when the time you may not want to spare. Caring, sharing, fellow feeling unburdens me, begins the healing, makes me want to live again. Thank you.
So wonderful, very deep, moving work. Thank you so much. It's so well crafted throughout each line, and the emotion you express is just so tender, and I really appreciate that. And go counselors, too. Yay. Go counselor. Don't know what I'd do without mine. Is PG Holroyd here? Yay. Welcome.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, just I've not done Zoom that often, and I'm using my phone, so yeah, it's the first time I've done anything like this. So I'm going to read 3 quite short poems, if that's okay. I didn't know if there was a theme or any sort of subject, so I do funny ones as well, but these ones a bit more serious. This first one's called Look Up. Look up at every rain-drenched cloud with lightning bright and thunder loud. The wrath of nature at her worst, she orders all the clouds to burst. The weakest race, we run for cover, terrified of nature's mother, as if we'd done her wrong somehow, and so she wants to kill us now. Look up into the deep blue skies where burning sun attacks your eyes and tries to burn your tender skin. Again, we have to hide within. The faded moon will blow a kiss behind the endless blue abyss, a reminder that our whole life's worth is but a blink to Mother Earth. Look up and see the darkest night. 1 trillion stars are shining bright. Our curiosity running rife, imagining all kinds of life. If we could wave a magic wand and reach another world beyond, perhaps we'd see someone like you looking up into the blue. Look up and see the world around with all its wonders to be found. Mountains, rivers, giant trees, rolling hills and raging seas. all the plants and living souls acting out their given roles, were nothing but a tiny crease in Mother Nature's masterpiece. That's the first one. The second one is watching kittens play. I wrote this. I was working on a sanctuary in New Zealand earlier this year, and there was some kittens for adoption, and I was just watching them play, and all your worries go away when you're watching kittens play. So that's what this one's about. The world is in a mess, so much suffering and pain. I don't know if I'll ever watch a news program again. Dictators invading and they don't care who they kill. Refugees escaping, but they keep on running still. All these things that make me cry will never go away, but I escape them for a little while when I watch kittens play. Slavery still happens even in this day and age. Racism and prejudice are still making front page. Misogynistic, homophobic tendencies are rife. Every being known to man has suffered from his knife. When children ask me why, I just don't know what to say, except to turn the TV off and watch some kittens play. The climate is collapsing and the world is on its knees. Common sense has been locked up and no one has the keys. The leaders of the world only care about themselves. Compassion and humanity are no longer on the shelves. It's happening every minute, every hour, every day. The only way to cope is if you're watching kittens play. That's that one. Thank you. And the last one is slightly longer, Fall to the Wrath of Nature. Again, another one about the environment. Do you ever grieve for the falling leaves as they lay dead at your feet? Do you cry for the sky as the daylight dies? Do you weep as the night kills the heat? Is your city pretty shitty when the rain is pouring down on a soggy, foggy morning when you wake? Does your town make you frown as the sleet is falling down and the wind is forcing all your bones to shake? Do you huddle in a muddle trying to avoid a puddle when it stretches out as far as you can see? Do you worry if you hurry as you're rushing through the slurry that the frightening lightning chases you with glee? Do you wonder what you're under as you hear the sound of thunder and you watch the dark clouds break above your head? Do you wish you'd never ever stepped outside in all this weather and instead you'd used your head and stayed in bed? Are you soaked through to your skin as you make your way within and you're shivering and withering and sad? And by the time you're dry and warm is when you must rejoin the storm as you yearn to return to your pad. Do you watch the news with sorrow as the forecast for tomorrow is a curse much worse than anything you've seen? As you're yawning in the morning, does another weather warning make you shudder with a judder in your spleen? Does the gory horror story of nature's angry glory make you crumble as you stumble through the day? Are you scared to go outside and you want to run and hide and you wish the hurricanes would go away? Do you wish that you had heeded all the things our planet needed to enhance the chance of keeping us alive? Well, it's too late to change our fate, as the crisis couldn't wait. We got it wrong. We took too long. We won't survive. As you realize with a scream that you're waking from a dream and the ghost of nature's future fades away, you make a vow right now to change the way you live somehow, and all those changes will be starting from today. That's it.
So in the moment and so well done. Just the rhyme schemes of everything, just brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for bringing all of that to the fore. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Okay.
Mhm. Welcome. And now Richard Spisak. Did I get that right?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here among this fine, marvelous group of poets. Chris, thank you so much. Your work is always so touching, just amazing. So I want to remind you, my dear good-hearted friends, that we have to take our own way to stand up to tyrants. We have ours, you have yours, they're all there. And I believe that a bludgeon with a sense of humor is the best medicine. I was so appalled at some of the news we've seen lately here in the States that I had to write this. This is called My Lawyers Made Me Do It. My lawyers made me do it. They said they'd get me through it. I cannot trust them now. They just turned away somehow. Who made them do it? Who drove them to it? Through how many attorneys I have turned, and yet they've so mischaracterized my every turn as I watch and grumble as my bridges burn and tumble. when sometimes I needed to appear the pauper, though from time some limo I was the eager hopper. Oh, my lawyers led me every step and kept me out of so many traps that I forget, the crypt forgets. And when my native worth needed to soar, I grabbed my bean counters and lawyers and ordered up a better score. Triple dippled, my apartment's worth flippered. It leapt, it soared 1,000,000 square feet or more. What do you think? I'd never be confined to walk the earth. Besides, my feet get sore. My casinos, my schools, even my steaks so rare were amazing, fascinating, right until they just weren't there. I partied hardy with the fastest set athletes and so many starlets. I've no regrets. But if you work for me, look out below. Your wages might have been lost in my latest show. A two-bit pitchman, reality TV. Sure, that's what they think of me. I cursed out the allies at the table and helped old Pooty whenever I was able. And now I got my dazzling days in court. And so I, to my lawyer teams, as always, my last resort, why must they always crawl flip-flopping and slime a dime away, these spoil sports? Oh, well, what can I say? The judge would muzzle my golden throat, and oh, my friends will later from the crater see what history wrote. And now something far more worthy of your dear precious hearts. This is called Over, Under, Around, and Through. Over, under, around, and through, the universe gonna take care of you. As above, so below. Count on your daily million miracles to ease your way, you know, or just count on your toes. Hurtling, tumbling through the immensity of space implies, of course, the other place. The way the sunlight sparkles on the water, just exactly how you know you water. I've often heard among the folks that like a far different species of joke, not ever telling jokes so mean the ambassador up and closes his magazine, and the rose pressed between the pages of an ancient book, we get a different kind of look. That rose plastered between the pages, what colorfully threaded harmonies we find ourselves engaged in. Live out in mercy, come what may. May you too sprinkle a little mercy on the bread of day. Over, under, around, and through, the universe is going to take care of you. And like capuchin monkeys in the zoo, the staged ages of sages cages up and you'll break on through. And now this one came to me just last night and I wanted to share it with you. How light in the saddle. How light in the saddle we ride, where our expectations collide. And although we seem grounded, our vision compounded with these senses that with us we must do the dishes. But a quick moment can come dethronement, leaving the passenger high and dry and even wondering why. And as the feet and their knees collapse as they see, and their watch percolates in an altered state, like the fizz in a glass, this collapse just might pass, and the surrounding scene wisps away like a dream, and a bubbling shimmer as you gain an instant's much thinner, and the world spiles away, and your feet turn to clay, and you're deposited with perceptions closeted in a far different realm. It falls into your lap like a plum, and your brain with its vapors is ignoring its neighbors. It's found other labors, and just who you are shows very little clothes. How near, how far. Thank you, my friends. An honor to be with you.
An honor to be with you too. Thank you so much. Such wonderful rhymes, and you give a new meaning to the word Zoom. You're just like going through all through it. Thank you. Is Rachel Clyde here? Okay. Ian McKenzie.
Yes, I'm here, right. And I mentioned earlier in the chat, it's nice to see you as well, Rick. Good to hear you. I'm going to share the screen if that's okay. Oops. So they're kind of visual related, the first 2 or 3 poems. For some reason, all the poems tonight all seem to be wind related. So I went to an exhibition at the Tate Modern a few weeks back. It was about theme was capturing the moment. And this one was it's a picture, well, it's like a photo montage by an artist called Jeff Wall. And I did a couple of poems. It's after a print of Hoskins. So here is a sudden gust of wind. Thoughts often scatter, caught on a sudden gust of wind. Some take wing like flocks of wheeling gulls, while others fall back to earth, sullied and spoiled, landing in some foul and muddied puddle. But what to do but catch them before they crash, still fresh from their free-form flight, touched by the feathery air of wind-blown, cloudy sky. They are such fragile, ephemeral things, abstract and gossamer lights, such wonders of our imaginings were ever meant to grow wings and fly. And the second one, based on that, is a sudden gust of wind. Sheets of flying paper stick to the sky as if velcroed there, thoughts in a freeze frame, there to hang like pallid ghosts for posterity. A random gust of wind seems to be the cause, though we are informed it's a photo montage, an artist's imaginary construct, as the truthful camera lens is bent to twist reality to fit our convictions, expectations led by the nose, to show us what we think we see, rather than the transparent truth of pure objectivity. And what we want to see, as it's always been, is easily manipulated, just as those loose sheets pinned painstakingly by the knowing artist to the screen with such skill, imitating a frozen flock of seagulls. And this next one was actually, this is one's actually was inspired by the actual print that Jeff Wall's piece was inspired by. It's called Yajiri Station. So, but it's like with Mount Fuji in the background. So it's sonnet number 80, a sudden gust of wind after Hokusai's Yajiri Station. Bent figures hold on to precarious hats, while leaves of paper scatter in the air, liberated from their sheathed and captive state, while the gods sit sedately on Mount Fuji, looking calmly down from their sacred heights. At this momentary rash disorder, catching out those fragile mortals on the hip, caught in the sudden rush of a gust of wind. So may we, with condescending hindsight, be the wiser to fortune's fickle face, seeing in another's wild discomfort lessons to be learned with more serious bent, taking careful measure of perturbations, the incessant blows of nature's bare intents. And the last one, again, wind related, it's called Pruning. When I went down to get the car going the other day, the detritus from the previous night's storm winds lay scattered over the roof and windscreen, curling wet leaves intermingled with stiff-winged seed pods, tangled themselves in the gaps between the blades of the wipers and jammed into any available interstices separating sections of bodywork. The storm had certainly done its work well, pruning the overhanging trees of their dead weight as they prepared to hunker down in readiness for the worst that winter was going to throw at them. But they needed no reminding, shedding their summer garb as we might ditch our old wardrobe, succumbing to the new season's fashionable styles, repackaged to appeal to jaded appetites, eager to taste more exotic fare, to rid themselves of last year's offerings, now grown stale. And almost as if right on cue when I return home, I began my own act of pruning, grabbing old clothes that had outworn their stay, vanished to the bottom of the dresser shelves, and quietly packed them into bin bags. And so to appease my guilty conscience, give them all away. Thanks, that's me.
So, oh, beautiful storytelling and your delicate rhymes and powerful rhymes. Just, I'm so well done. Thank you so much. So well crafted. You're welcome. Ashley Edge.
The cough before I unmuted, but there we go. That's orders. I've got a couple for you. Let's see. I found one, so I don't know. I'm hearing it for the first time too. I don't remember writing it. So, cost of living crisis. Cold October nights turn to frosty November days. Make me dread the final month, the cheers we're meant to give. Frost on my windows, on my hands and in my bones. Wrapped like a present, I'm the gift that doesn't give. Try to shape letters from my thoughts into words, but the stiffness from the cold makes me want to sob instead. Cost of living crisis is a phrase to desensitize. Cost of living crisis is the sight of frozen dead folk. Cost of living crisis is a man in a suit, sieving platitudes as honey to stop us all from seeing. Cost of living crisis is an empty fridge and cupboards. Cost of living crisis is a fridge you've just turned off because the lecky costs the earth. Water isn't free, so I wonder what is next. Will you dare to charge me for the air I need to breathe? I count my literal pennies, 5 pence being a good day. I read about being cashless as I stack them into piles and hope I reach a pound. I take my pound to buy my bread, stare wordlessly, so helpless. When I see it's gone up yet again, 30p more is just too much. Cost of living crisis is an empty swallow, empty gulp. Cost of living crisis is your back against a wall of knives and politicians watching as we starve. I'll say I don't mind doing it because I've got full tummy tonight. So, but yeah, I'm going to change it up for the next one so that it's I don't like doing all too sad. Do you know what I mean? So, ADHD is what this one's about, and it's called Stimulation is a Paradox. I'm an extroverted introvert, a walking contradiction. Stimulation irritates, but stillness drives me crazy. I cower in the corner, megaphone at my mouth. Wonder why you'll pay me mind. This is meant to keep me quiet. Enthusiastic hyper tongue makes you think I'm happy, but it's mechanical, tyrannical, controls my every move. I bounce around, limbs never stop. I'll twitch if I keep still. I feel my brain vibrate and spark. It doesn't know how to sleep. And catching flies you cannot see, like Miyagi, like a trance. My stimming helps destimulate my overloaded brain. They call it a disorder, a phrase so fucking apt. This busy whirring non-stop brain is driving me up the wall. I think of 30 random things compared to your one focus. My multitasking knows no bounds, one thing at a time sounds strange. My peripheral vision could rival Messi's and I have the nose of a dog. I no longer have the energy, so I let my mind ooze out. This skull of mine tries to contain a brain that never gives up. I feel it pressing, pulsing through my weary cranium. So you see, it's rather difficult to focus my attention. I admit I have a deficit. This head of mine is hyper. I'm an extroverted introvert, a walking contradiction. Stimulation irritates, but stillness drives me crazy.
Thank you so much. I love how you're bringing your truth forward, and I really appreciate that. In both cost of living and ADHD, I appreciate that. Well done. And now Therese Craine Bertsch.
Wow, this has been some day.
Hi, Craine.
Yeah, hi. Happy to be with Chris. Absolutely beautiful poetry. It's so full of meaning, so personal. But anyway, I just loved it. So I have 2 poems, and they take about a little, maybe over 3 minutes. Both about Halloween. One is about Halloween in my family, and one is about All Saints Day, if I can find them. Okay, so the first one is yeah, it's well, I'll do the first one is for All Saints Day because I happen to find that first. It's called The Assumption of Our Lady. Blue, the sky passes through my being, seeing put aside for new eyes. Blue, breathe now through the universe. Endlessly we rehearse, preparing for eternal cosmic splendor. I surrender the ever-present union of my body, mind, and spirit, coalesced intact in communion with the Trinity, my destiny. The divine benevolence wrapped in my humanity, entwined in flesh through love. Can you see love's incarnate gaze in the ways our love gave birth to our son, blessing the earth and each and all to end the division of the fall, caught up in love? Sorry about that. I hate this typewriter and this computer that I use. Caught up in love, no fractious split, time and space, no place for Eden's disgrace. One, only one, deeply together, we are one. Division torn asunder, now consumed in awe and wonder. Blue, now grace flows through, unending, stretched across the splendor of the cosmos, yes, and each and all of you alive together, a standstill, filled with deep and silent wonder. Eternally I ponder the flowing out to each beyond the breach to earth. Encourage, inspire circles of personal and global relationships of ever-expanding love. I give, we give, no passivity. We see your need, Blue, wordlessly new, understanding unity too, over present, time and space, now erased in sublime, endless, unfolding love. I did not rise above. No, my body with my love passed through the portal of the fractures beyond the veil of time. Blue, we dwell within each of you. Can you sit in solitude and let love speak and seek to know the endlessness of me in you? That's one. And if I can find the other one, I'll do it. Not quite sure I can. Let's see. I don't think so. The other one was actually very funny. I think that's it. I had one on Halloween another time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was so beautiful. So lyrical and spiritual. Just so beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. And now is Lloyd Hanna here? Welcome.
Can you hear me? Awesome. Okay, thanks for having me here. It's so great to be with y'all. Thanks to Amy Hoskins for putting this together, and Chris Dickinson, your work is so amazing. It really is. I'm only going to read one today, but it's a bit of a mouthful, so I'm going to get right into it. It's about my mother. The pros and cons of being a caregiver. Pro, you will get to know the person you are caring for in the most intimate way imaginable. Con, you will get to know the person you are caring for in the most intimate way imaginable. Pro, you may gain a perspective about life and death that goes so far beyond what the average person understands that you will find yourself happy being anonymously entertained with strangers' conversations, because at least you get to listen to adults talking instead of answering the same questions over and over again. Because the person you care for is slowly transitioning to being not there, not the person they were before. Imagine taking care of a baby in reverse, watching someone slowly lose steps, then words, then memories, and they keep asking how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. How does that damnation TV remote work? Then every moment of clarity for them turns into talks about suicide and many apologies. This is not your responsibility. You're not supposed to see this. You're not supposed to see me falling. You're not supposed to hear me screaming. Can't you see that I'm disappearing? That my brain is melting? Those memories drip away like candle wax that's just the remains of what the candle was. And they'll say all this without being able to see the light that they still are, because so many memories are gone. And no matter how many times you remind them, They won't understand. Yeah, you may gain a perspective about life and death that goes so far beyond what the average person understands. Con, that perspective, it might not come until after the person you were caring for is dead. Because honestly, being a caregiver is exhausting. There was no time to think about anything beyond the immediate needs. Fill the belly, clean the end. Make the doctor's appointments and hope she could afford them. Rub her feet when they were hurting, cut her toenails because she couldn't reach them. I gained so much more respect for my mother when I took care of her. All I had to keep track of was one. At one point, she took care of everybody in her house, and it was her house, even with my father's name. She did everything. Not a birthday or Easter egg or Halloween parade or doctor, dentist, religious service, Christmas list, every meal, every cleaning day, in every way I was taught to do my chores or there would be hell to pay. Every part of every day had my mother's hand in it in some way. How did she do it? I don't know, but I found an old logbook she used as a calendar that had every expenditure itemized, and I realized she literally kept track of every penny too. According to that book, in 1972, her food budget per week, with 7 bellies to fill, including my father's, which was almost bigger than me, and my brother's, the human vacuum machine, that budget per week was $7.30. $7.30 for her to get as much food as she could get. And yeah, it was a long time ago, and prices were lower then. And yeah, she had a file box full of coupons, and we never got anything that wasn't on sale. And there was a big side garden we all harvested from, and berries and plants from the natural world that she home canned to squeeze $1 from a dime every time. But I don't know how she did it. Pro, you might have the most amazing, revealing conversations about shit that went down 40 years before that will leave you both weeping and hugging each other on the floor. Con, she would forget them, the amazing conversations, and beg me to take her home, unable to realize that she was already there. Pro, you may finally develop a sense of humor about yourself because when you are splattered with adult shit, you will have to see the humor in it. You will want to die laughing from it, by at least imagining what it might have looked like to someone standing there recording. Con, you will be splattered by adult shit. Your entire reason for existence will be focused on feeding and changing an adult who needs constant supervision, basically filling one end and cleaning the other. Pro, occasionally the humanity of the situation will want to drive you to your knees in anticipation of the next thing, and the dread of entering a bedroom and wondering if it has become a tomb. But you will somehow bear up and soldier on and find a way to satisfy at least the most pressing requests, and find a way to ignore the rest, at least until tomorrow. Con, some days you will not be able to stop crying. You'll even cry yourself awake trying to fall asleep, thinking about conversations that drift away. And how much love can one person take? When she dies, will I fade away? Tomorrow's finally going to be that rainy day. How the fuck am I supposed to comfort me? You'll feel it coming in your bones, and you will pray to God death comes as a comfort, but it won't feel like it when it does. And you'll wring yourself dry every time and pick up the pieces and go on. And when the services and condolences and flowers are gone, you may cry again and wish that you'd done more. Truthfully, I didn't write a pros and cons list when I started taking care of my mother before her last days. I didn't really think about it at all. Maybe if I had, I would have been scared away, would have left it in a stranger's hands, begging trust from last call institutions, and not had to learn all the amazing qualities a person who became my friend had, or deal with all the angst and anger and dread, or learn a kind of love I never could have imagined, or any of the good, or any of the bad. Which is why I'm glad I never made a pros and cons list about that, because then I might have given up before I started. That's that.
Wow. Thank you. I learned so much. I really appreciate that. And it's mortifying what you've been through, and I really appreciate you bringing that to us.
Thanks. Thanks.
You're welcome. And now we have Mona Zamfirescu. Did I get that right?
Yes, thank
there
you.
you are. Yay.
I just have one poem for today. It's called Why I Bake. I love to bake, so why I bake. I do not recall the exact moment I knew I had to bake, as if my life depends on it. The first time I saw an alchemy of perfect proportions, poems in a slice of bread. The first time I realized ancestors are speaking flour and water, how sourdough gathers their kindness out of thin air. The first time I heard them and felt they still knew how to pray. Their voice intertwined with mine, whispering words that could easily pass unnoticed, unheeded. Slow down, or more, or less. Enough, enough. I do remember the weight, the clouds of flour, the slant light beams on my kneading hands that stretched and folded sticky dough, coalescing slowly, built elastic with love. The hours and hours of rising, and how one day I learned to stand tall in the heat. The countless times I thought nothing will come of it, and how one day I knew that even nothing at all is also something, and how we long for that moment. Please break this bread with me and feel it reaching you like light, the far distant galaxies of your body. A morsel of this is enough. Slow down and breathe with me. A morsel is enough. Enough. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, it just keeps getting better. That was amazing. Thank you so much. I love the clouds of flour and the descriptions and the way you flip the metaphor. It was wonderful. Thank you. Would anyone else like to read or perform? No? I will read a little bit of two new poems. The first one is, you may know these from Facebook. The first one is called How Summer Ends, 2023. It's time for rainbows again. They swirl around the room, innocent, powerful sunlight. Let the lavender lift me, the lemon and the mint. Why would you walk on the grass if there's a stone path? It's a lost day. Then the sun comes out. Tea and candles on a cold day. The landscape of the studio changes minutely as I create. Flood of decent memories top traumatic ones. A distinct floating terrain that consists subconsciously every time I close my eyes when I dream. Running from people who disagree. The nightmares are they chase me, want to kill me. I escape. I stop the dream. I doze while the thermometer goes up slightly. I have a cold. It will pass, pulls me down into restless rest. October and holidays are near. My autumn birthday brings thoughts about my growth, visioning. The holidays are fraught with memories old and new. When I was a child, I most of all believed in being good to each other for Thanksgiving and Christmas. As a Buddhist now, raised Presbyterian, I still celebrate both with revisited traditions. new rituals for the new year, compassion as a practice toward all. The last daisy, pink cream flocks floating among cosmos, zinnia, Mexican sunflower, fragrant rose vines blooming a bit longer before true frost. The monarch butterfly and the cosmos had a beautiful moment while we watched from the back porch in the morning sunshine. Third day of the common cold. I can't breathe through my nose. A mouth breather for now. Achy, I rest more peacefully. Girl, you better read your horoscope. Get with what the planets are doing. I prefer the sunroom studio. It's lemon yellow and dark blue, punctuated with artwork. There's no TV, only music and sunlight. When it's blistering cold outside, it's warm in here, safe. My photo of the apricot cosmos made you cry. Traumatized for too long up in Virginia, remembering our time here in the garden in Tennessee. The holidays loom in the air like hope and goodwill among us all. Wood smoke, candles, making chili and soup, Thanksgiving and Christmas, those special times of blessings, prayers. Today, the Middle East explodes in war after almost a century of brewing. May we create de-escalation and peace through our actions all year long. Can there be a ceasefire in this ancient blood feud over land and religion? Nothing is sacred. Everything is sacred. How do we bring the understanding of the peace of children to the adults in charge? Hope is action, epiphany, divine, spirituality. Hope makes change possible, not only during the holidays of all the religions. This is how the promise of spring and summer end, with knowledge, hope, lovely memories of a peaceful garden offering, with wars and attempts at ceasefire, prayers for peace. This is how summer ends, 2023. Thank you. I have one more, also recent. The hell. Last night, the semi-nightmare was moving into an ancient, cavernous house where the rooms were constantly shifting, lights, walls, colors, shadows. House of secrets, every closet full to the brim. My mother kept giving me things to find a home for. It became utter chaos, trying to arrange everything neatly. It was impossible to keep up. This afternoon, it dawned on me the ancient home is our world. Mother Earth sends us blessings and curses every moment. We are one with her, whether we realize it or not. Action creates repercussion. We create our own love, our blood feuds in a landscape always in flux toward the unknown. The number of body bags does not constitute a win. The writing gets dark for a reason. We're going deep again. Hold still. May peaceful minds prevail. Tylenol finds my pain in its own unique way. Dried leaves of Agastache sing to my wounds, silly enough to me in times of war. Loose lips sink ships, remember? He says, I was trying to get somewhere. Grew dreads long as vines, changed his name, became an elder, drumming. Loose tops and leggings, black ink for big crone energy. She searches every crevice, never finds. Instead, it spits back at her into a new mirror. Her new upper lip is strangely fuzzy. She can't stand her reflection. Stings like a burn, shame she's always known. We obstruct the grandest sky that cannot be painted by hand with telephone poles, wires, makeup, mascara, lead-filled red lipsticks, buildings of so much lesser beauty to overpass. Rethink the landscape, honor the clouds, the trees, all beings. Baby carriages full of your clothes, new apartments coming up right next to you. None of them affordable in this hell. You cannot leave this earth without your soul. You sleeping on found mattresses behind the dead car wash. Thank you. Oh my gosh, you guys, this has been so brilliant. I so appreciate Christine and everyone who's here. Just open it up, Mike, and let's just give everybody a big round of applause. It's so good. Thank you.
Amazing, Mike. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Great sandwich.
Wonderful. Thank you. And we're taking October and November and December off. We'll be back in January with Lantern Carrier. And I so appreciate you guys. I really appreciate being here.
Wonderful.
Have a blessed rest of your evening or day, as it may be. Yeah,
Thank you all.
Sleep.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
You're so welcome. Come anytime. Bye-bye.